Imagine logging into Instagram, you open your messages, your profile, and then your settings as well. And anytime you click something, the website asks, who are you? Log in again, and you log in again. So you click on another page, you log in again. So imagine doing that for millions of times. Isn't that annoying? It's going to be annoying, right? So how does a website remember that you are logged in already? This is where cookies and sessions comes into play. And you know what? Here is the scariest part, because if an attacker somehow manages to get the right session information, then they may not even need your login credentials to log in as you. So let me explain that concept. First of all, let's understand the problem they are solving here. HTTP basically is stateless. So this means that the server doesn't automatically remember you anytime you make separate request. If you log in, the server checks or it compares your username and your password, and then says, yep, you are authenticated. So imagine you click on your profile and that's another request again. Sorry. So without a mechanism to maintain state, the server could ask again, who are you again? I mean, you would have to you would have to log in again. So you click on settings, you log in. You click on profile, you log in. And even if you refresh, you have to log in again. The logins are too many. So you realize that this is where the website needs to tell the server that this person making several requests is the one who was authenticated already, and this is where sessions and cookies comes into play. So what exactly is a cookie? Forget that bakery. In web applications, a cookie is a small piece of data the server hands over to your browser to store it. So for example, it may hand over something like this: set cookie with session ID equal to ABC123, and your browser stores. You make another request again, so the server can the browser can automatically send back that same cookie to the server. So instead of the server then asking, who are you? Log in again. It then sees a cookie with session ID equals to ABC123, and it then says, oh yeah, this is session with ID ABC123. You can proceed. The server can use that identifier or that tag to authenticate every session of yours. So this basically means whenever you click on login, whenever you click on profile, you click on settings, you wouldn't have to log in again. And remember, cookies usually live in the client side. This means they live in your browser. Take note. So now let's talk of a session. A session is commonly maintained on the server side. So come to think of it as a private locker. And inside that private locker, the server may associate information like, let's say, username is Cyber Zulka, and user ID equal to 92, and its login, which is true. So the server may associate that information to inside that locker with your authenticated session. Take note. And maybe probably other related authenticated sessions as well. The server doesn't need to send all that information to the browser. So instead of that, it does it generates a random identifier, which is called the session ID. Take note, it's called the session ID. So this session ID is basically stored in a cookie. So remember, the cookie is the key, and the session is the locker. So your browser carries the key, and the server maintains the locker. Take note. Now here's where cybersecurity gets interesting, because when we say session hijacking, it doesn't mean that we are stealing the session. Remember, the cookie is the key, and the session is the locker. So when we say session hijacking, this basically means that we are doing we are stealing the key to open the locker. Meaning we are doing we are stealing the cookie to hijack the session. Take note. So if an attacker manages to obtain a valid session cookie, then they may be able to use it and log in as you. And the question is how? So after the attacker has managed to obtain your valid session cookie, they proceed to play with it in the URL bar. And what happens is that the server thinks is the victim who is trying to log in. Take note. The server then thinks is the victim who is trying to log in. And once they are able to log in, game over. And this is basically the core idea, or this is basically the core concept of session hijacking in cybersecurity. At this juncture, I know that the $1 million question hovering in your minds is, how does an attacker obtain a valid cookie session? So you have to pen this down. One, they can obtain it through poor poor what session invalidation, through session 2 session fixation, sorry, and then 3 through what cross-site scripting vulnerability. And also another $1 million question is, how do developers prevent this? So for cookies, they should do what? They should use HttpOnly. This basically prevents what? JavaScript from reading what? The cookies. And in addition to that, they should make sure that cookies are sent over what? Over HTTPS only. And for the sessions too, sorry, the server should what? The server should be programmed to generate long random what? Session IDs. And also after any authentication, or let's say after a login, the session should always what? The session ID should always what? Be regenerated again. So to conclude things, this is Cyber Zulka. If you find this video interesting and educative, don't forget to share to what? All cybersecurity learners. Follow for more AppSec concepts one at a time. Thank you all for watching.